There was blood pouring down your face everywhere, and yet you said you felt very safe because God is on my side.
Well, I maybe even feel that more now. And somebody said the other day, but a lot of people say it, that it was really God that saved me because he wants me to save the country. The country is going so bad with everything that's happening, between inflation that's ruining people. It's ruining people. It's killing our senior citizens and a lot of other people too. But
as we get closer and closer to Election Day, we see a more and more desperate Donald Trump. And that is because, as we talk about on this show, he's not just running for president. He's running to stay out of prison. Donald Trump is running to avoid accountability and to serve himself. And that is why this campaign has become strictly about his own grievance, his own complaints, and his own anger that continues to come out more and more, as I said, as Donald Trump becomes more desperate. And that anger becomes clear when Trump gets in his safe spaces, like an interview with Fox and Friends, or in the case of this video, an interview with Newsmax, where that angry Trump telling his crazy conspiracy theories as he implodes before our eyes really comes out in the scariest and strangest way. And so I want to get into this interview that Trump did with Newsmax when he made one of the wilder claims that I have seen from Trump lately, showing his desperation. But before we do that, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video and hit that subscribe button. If you haven't already enjoying the movement that we are building on this channel, it really goes a long way now. Let's get into this first clip of Donald Trump on Newsmax.
There was blood pouring down your face everywhere, and yet you said you felt very safe because God is on my side.
Well, I maybe even feel that more now. And somebody said the other day, but a lot of people say it, that it was really God that saved me because he wants me to save the country. The country is going so bad with everything that's happening, between inflation that's ruining people. It's ruining people. It's killing our senior citizens and a lot of other people too. But you have the war with Ukraine and Russia that's going to end up in World War III with these people because they don't know what they're doing. You just take a look at Afghanistan, how badly that was handled. So, I mean, you're a military guy. That was handled. That's the worst thing probably you've ever witnessed. I've never seen such incompetence. Because of that, Putin went in. But Putin would have never gone in with me anyway.
I cannot stand and am so aggravated that we continue to have to hear Donald Trump say that it is God who wants him to become president, and that's why he was spared from an assassination attempt. This is the same guy who told a community who was devastated in the wake of a school shooting that they just have to get over it. They have to move on. But no, Donald Trump is being spared by God. His life is being spared when the number one cause of death for children in this country is gun violence, but no special guy upstairs looking out for Donald Trump. It's just so gross to hear, and I absolutely can't stand it. Especially coming from someone like Donald Trump, who couldn't care less about religion, and really when he talks about God, as I always say, I think he's just projecting his own belief as the narcissist that he is a god, at least to his cult followers, certainly. But Donald Trump continued to go off on his weird attacks and making strange admissions in this interview. And before we get into one of the stranger things that Donald Trump said really in this entire campaign, I want to check out an ad from VP Harris that I think gives great context on the assertion that Trump made.
On the border, the choice is simple. Kamala Harris supports increasing the number of Border Patrol agents. Donald Trump blocked a bill to increase the number of Border Patrol agents. Kamala Harris supports investing in new technology to block fentanyl from entering the country. Donald Trump blocked funding for technology to block fentanyl from entering the country. Kamala Harris supports spending more money to stop human traffickers. Donald Trump blocked money to stop human traffickers. Kamala Harris prosecuted transnational gang members and got them sentenced to prison. Trump is trying to avoid being sentenced to prison. There's two choices in this election: the one who will fix our broken immigration system, and the one who's trying to stop her.
I love that ad from the VP Harris campaign because I think it does a couple of important things in this race. And that is remind people of the failures of Donald Trump while educating them about how VP Harris has actually succeeded, how she has lived up to her word, and that Donald Trump has not, that Donald Trump has only played politics with this issue of the border. Not only while he is running for president, obviously blowing up the bipartisan border deal, but he didn't try to solve any sort of immigration crisis during his administration because he wanted to run on the political issue. So there was never any talk of immigration reform because Donald Trump didn't want that. He just wanted to complain, like we see in this clip when he says something pretty crazy that we're going to respond to.
You have not seen anything yet. Wait till you see. As you know, in Colorado, the governor doesn't know what to do. He has no clue. They're taking over the Venezuelans. They have weapons like military-style weapons, maybe even more sophisticated, and they're walking in, young, strong guys, lots of them, and they're taking over real estate in Colorado and Aurora. And you know what's happening in Ohio. That's been well documented. When you have 32,000 people coming in from Haiti and they're coming into a town of 50,000 people, nobody knows what to do. But I know what to do. And we have to solve this problem. This is a problem created by Kamala and Joe. Joe put her in charge of the border. She's the worst border czar or border person. You know, she doesn't want to be called the border czar anymore. She didn't mind it. For 3.5 years, she didn't mind it, but now she doesn't want to be called the border czar. And she's right. She shouldn't be called the border czar because it's a disgrace. There's never been anybody has done such a bad job on a border in the history of the world, not just here. And we will straighten it out, but she's not going to straighten it out. If she got elected, you would have 150 million people in this country. Our country would be overrun, and our country would be, frankly, it would be a wasteland. It would be horrible.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, we see a more and more desperate Donald Trump, and that comes off with his fear-mongering, of course. Last week, we saw at the worst debate in history for Donald Trump that he claimed that there were Haitian migrants eating cats and dogs and stealing geese. Obviously, immigration fear-mongering, the most important element of Donald Trump's campaign. And it has gotten increasingly crazy, as we can see with these wild conspiracies. But Donald Trump saying that 150 million people are going to come into the country under VP Harris, and some of the worst Trump math I've seen in a long time. I think it is the worst. Since he said that 113% was it of the jobs created under the Biden-Harris administration went to illegal immigrants. That's what he said, 113%. So we know this is not a real smart guy, as much as he wants to claim that he is a stable genius, but no, that math does not add up. And again, just shows how detached from the reality of the real issues that Trump is as he continues to get more and more desperate. And of course, in that desperation, Donald Trump leans on the things he cares about most. And in this case, that's dictators, which Donald Trump was asked about and responded to right here.
The other thing you didn't mention, Kim Jong-un. All right, this is someone who hasn't gotten a lot of attention recently, but, you know, in your book, you talk about he had an opportunity like no other to be remembered as the leader who ushered in a glorious new era of security and prosperity for his people. People don't give you credit for crossing that line and going into that country and having a conversation with him.
Well, I did, and I got along with him great. And he liked me, and I must tell you, I got along with him great. I can't say, if I'd say I like him, the press would say, oh, he liked Kim Jong-un. I got along with him great. I understood him.
But that's how you get things done.
By the way, tough guy, smart guy, and we were not in danger. You know, when I...
Have y'all noticed that? Since leaving office, and really while he was president, Donald Trump had more positive things to say about Viktor Orban and Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin than he did about the leaders in our own country, how Donald Trump praises them more than he praises America. Republicans want to pretend that they're patriots and that they love our country, but all they ever do is attack it and cheer on failure. Donald Trump has been begging and pleading for an economic collapse since he left the Oval Office because he wants to see us fail. And of course, he wants to love his dictators. He wants to, kiss up to them. And of course, that has been called out relentlessly, as it should be. But the person who I think did the best job of it right here was VP Harris.
Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch.
We know that Donald Trump is a wannabe dictator. He's a wannabe authoritarian, and he wants to be perceived as strong and powerful. And of course, he is not. And I'm so glad that Vice President Harris called that out in such a perfect way. We talked about the ways in which he was able to get under his skin and really turn those screws loose, looser than they already are during that debate. But saying that Putin would eat Trump's lunch, something that he absolutely knows, I'm sure, really got to him. Because we remember that classic photo of Putin walking out in front of Trump, and Trump's just all sad with his head down behind him. Because as much as Donald Trump wants to pretend that he has good relationships with dictators because they fear him, that is not the case. No, it's because they know he's a joke. And that is why we have seen so many national security advisors who worked for Donald Trump in the intelligence community say what a threat he is, not only at home, but abroad. And I think we should trust those people, the people who were closest to him, who know him best, who know that he is unfit. And of course, we can see it in this out-of-control interview from Donald Trump, the wild accusations. But let's trust the people who saw it up close and personal. And the people who see Vice President Harris up close and personal know she's right for this job. And we are going to continue to talk about that every single day on this show. So if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button and join the movement that we are building. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. And if you stuck around at the end, drop a blue heart in the comments or just say hi so I can thank you for your support. And until next time, I'll see you soon.